Bloody Butler. Do you like celebrating Halloween? Besides, it really seems to be a promising holiday which is usually full of various mysteries and traditions. The main heroes of our story haven't ever celebrated such a peculiar holiday. Thus, this time they decided to create a new brand custom of their strong friendship. Holly and Mark are two best friends. These people have been companions for over 10 years. They both study at the same university, have a part-time job at the same place, visit the same cafes, etc. In brief, they have really much in common. You would ask, is it just a friendship or something else?